Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is about an evildoer trying to kill children on Halloween night with these special masks. You got a doctor and a young lady who team up to figure out what the hell is going on and what is the villain's motivation behind this. Hey everybody, how you doing out there? So I am actually on Halloween 3. A lot of people like to call the stepchild of this franchise. Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you've never seen this movie, spoiler, but this movie's like over 40 years old. I think it's common knowledge now. This is the one that does not have Michael Myers in it. Now, back in 1982, I was very, very young at that time. When this movie came out, people despised this movie. And I could see why. Because when I first saw this movie, I hated it too, wondering where the hell Michael Myers was, what was going on. But then when you finally learned what was going on with John Carpenter and his team, they wanted to come up with Halloween stories that was not just Michael Myers, that they wanted to come up like these anthology stories like every year or every other year. And unfortunately, since this one bombed, that it took like 6 years for them to finally come up and say, let's do Michael Myers again back in like 1988. Now, I started respecting this movie the past like 10, 15 years ago. I was just like, okay, I'm not on that hate side anymore. I respect this. I do like it. I don't know if I ever say I love it. I definitely enjoy the movie for what we actually get out of this. Now, I don't have a whole lot to actually throw out with the dislike, so I decided I'm going to switch it around and go that way here. So the first dislike I want to talk about is there's a commercial on the TVs and on the radio that talks about how many days until Halloween. Now, this movie takes place 8 days before Halloween at the beginning and then makes its way to Halloween by Act 3 there. And it goes 8 more days till Halloween, Halloween. I know, I suck at singing, but that's pretty much what it is. The first time is fine, but then like the next 5 or 6 times that they actually keep showing it and you hear that music, it just gets so freaking annoying so quickly. It's going to get stuck in your head for at least 3 days, if not longer, after you watch this movie. The only character that I'm not a big fan of is actually that young lady who teams up with the doctor named Allie. I don't like her acting. I'm not interested in what she's doing. She's just not a great actress to me. I'd say at the very beginning, like maybe the first 2 scenes that we see her at the hospital and at the bar with the doctor played by Tom Atkins. After that, it just feels like her acting really dies down. And in Act 3, which I understand something happens to that particular character, so her acting isn't going to be the greatest. And still, like I said, it makes complete sense, but I just did not like it one bit. And then the final thing I got to say on the dislikes is Act 3. There are some moments in Act 3 that I think are pretty cool, but overall, Act 3 starts running out of gas. I'm not interested in what's going on. The pacing starts dragging. It's like the first 2 acts were great. I like the editing. I like the pacing. But we get to Act 3, and I'm just like, oh my God. It just feels like it's like a slug to actually really get through the ending here, which really, really sucks. And moving on to the likes, let's just get this out of the way. The no Michael Myers does not bother me. I already kind of mentioned this in my intro that they didn't have him in there. It never really bothered me. You decide to do something very unique in this franchise and you hit it out of the park. Not just for me, but for a lot of people, or especially most people didn't like this at first, and someone like me is like, you know what? I can respect you for what you try to do. I like the way that this movie starts off with you got an older gentleman running down the street, which is Allie's father, and the thing is that he ends up in a junkyard and he's banging on doors thinking maybe there'll be a worker or a boss there to help him out. Fortunately, there was not. You got these 2 guys in a car that try to take him out. He actually finds a way for an older gentleman to actually take one of these guys out, which I really like, and he ends up making it to a gas station, and he ends up getting there, and he actually pretty much faints right around the guy's feet. So the gas station guy drives him to the hospital, and of course we get Tom Atkins. Now, Tom Atkins ends up in one scene before that, but when we get to Tom Atkins, his performance is so good in this movie here. He does such a wonderful job. But he's one of these actors, I could say, he gives 110% no matter what movie he is. I mean, it could be a stinker, and unfortunately, like a movie like this, this movie, failed, this movie bombed, but he's been in a lot of other movies that did that too. But then there'll be like movies that I really liked him in. One of my all-time favorite movies that he was actually in was a movie called Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage. I've talked about this movie so many times to people, maybe even mentioned it here or there. If you're curious about that, you can always go onto my playlist and find my review on that about how much I really enjoyed that movie. You also have another character in here named Cochran. He's the villain. I would not consider this a spoiler. If you watch the trailer to this old movie, you can just tell that he's evil just throughout the trailer. And he definitely is kind of like the evil Dr. Loomis. When he's on screen, he grabs your attention and you listen to what this guy's going to say. And when he starts explaining to Tom Atkins' character what is actually going on and his motivation behind taking out children, all you can do is look at this guy and say, "You sick bastard, I cannot stand you, and I hope Tom Atkins will be able to take your ass out eventually in this movie." So it's just one of those villains where I wish we had villains like this anymore. Just go after, the children, almost like kind of a Freddy Krueger to a point there, and I just really like that. I really do like the story. It's different, it's unique, probably because there isn't Michael Myers in this, and like I said, this was unfortunately a one and done Halloween story that no one else wanted to ever see any more of these, which was actually kind of bad. I really kind of wish we would have. When it comes to the kills, I really like the kills. There's definitely a decent amount of blood in those there. And even if it is a bloodless scene, I really do like it. Actually, there is something, without going into too much details, there is something that happens to a woman and her face, and I thought that was probably one of the best deaths I've ever actually seen. When it comes to the reveal of these henchmen about, wait a minute, what exactly are they, or who are they kind of thing, and they actually get to that point, I thought that was very unique. When you watch this movie and you kind of see what some of these henchmen actually do, I'm like, holy crap. Okay, so that actually makes sense when they finally get to the reveal. And that was a pretty good surprise. And another thing I gotta mention are the three masks. You got a pumpkin, a witch, and a skeleton. Now the pumpkin's normal, it's okay for what it is. There might have a little bit of creepiness to it, but the witch and the skeleton is actually the scariest of them all there. Now you gotta be a sick bastard, even in a movie, to plan this idea of wanting to take out children. But they actually do a demonstration on what exactly happens to a kid in this movie. And all I'm going to say is, holy shit. And then the final, the last 2 minutes of this movie. Like I said in my dislikes, there are some stuff in Act 3 that I really do like the reveal of these henchmen. And the last 2 minutes is kind of a what the fuck moment. It's just, oh my god, you have no idea how this film kind of ends, and I sort of like that kind of thing where you have that, oh, okay, so did it work? Did it not work? Did the hero win? Did the bad guys win? I kind of really like something like that. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, I am going to go 3 out of 4 stars. Have you seen this movie? Are you someone who didn't like this movie like me, and then you kind of cross that bridge and you got into that boat where it's like, I enjoy this movie now? Were you someone that still doesn't like it? Or are you someone that actually did like it because it was something different? Give me all those answers down below. We'll definitely discuss it in the comments section. So thank you guys so much for watching this movie review. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.